message, we can read it out and try to answer. Oh, at last. Hi, Carlos. Hope you are able to hear us. Carlos, I see you as a speaker now. Can you try unmuting and see like the audio
All
works?
right, great. Now I can do it. It wasn't letting me do it on the
Ah,
computer, unfortunately.
yeah, yeah. The space is usually buggy. Hope Elon Musk will take a good look at it and kind of fix the issues. Um, but yeah, until that happen, it works well on iPhone and on Android as well. But the Wave one is really buggy. All right, Favor. Would you want to? Would you like to get this space get started?
Okay, so hello everyone. Thank you for attending. My name is Favor Edebola Showcase, and joining me is Tapas, our head of content, and we have Carlos here, who is the CEO of Intersection and also a mentor at Hackfest, a showcase mentor. So I'll just pass the mic to Tapas to introduce himself and then to Carlos.
Okay. Hope I don't have to do it in every space, Trevor. But yeah. So yeah, I'm actually a content creator, educator, and at this time I'm working as a head of content at Showcase. I'm very passionate about hackathon and building communities and connecting to people. So that's all about me. You can reach out to me anytime on Showcase or on Twitter. We'll be happy to help you out. Over to Carlos. Oh, why don't you start with an introduction?
Hi. I'm not sure if everybody has seen the profile, my profile on there, but as they said, I'm Carlos Reyna, and I currently am an architect for cloud and microservices. And I work with different languages and different environments. Usually, it is to set up uh, big, large platforms for security going into startups as they find their sweet spot and helping them grow and get through the growing pains for acquisition or IPO. And that's what I primarily specialize in.
Great, great. Thanks, Carlos, for taking your time out for the space. And usually, how Twitter Space works is like we have someone as guest, and then we try to interact with the guest from the host with few question and answer, and then open up for the stage to ask question, the audience to ask question. But as it is a mentoring call, we won't bother, from the host side to talk too much and ask too many questions from our side. Rather, we'll allow the audience to ask more questions so that they get clarification. So this space is having an objective. The primary objective is on Showcase platform. We are having a hackathon running, and today we are on the third day. It's a month-long hackathon. You can still register because still 27 more days are there for you to ideate, build something, collaborate, network with people. Favor, you might want to just post the registration link in the comments so that people can look into it and they can register if they have not done already. And while we think through this hackathon, what we figured out is like that the hackathon is for everyone, and everybody may need some amount of mentorship, and they might have certain questions like what they're going to do in hackathon, how they're going to do things in hackathon. That's where we have a mentorship lined up, and our first mentoring call with Carlos is today. So I want to kind of take this opportunity, Carlos, to ask a very few questions just to kind of like an icebreaker to get things started, and then I'll open it up with the audience if that makes sense. So the first thing that I have, Carlos, is like from my side is like, so hackathon. When we talk about hackathon, I see that there is a implicit assumption that people make, like hackathon means we have to really build something really huge, something really big. And if I am a beginner to code, if I am somebody who is just getting started with building things, taking baby step. Is a hackathon for me? Can I participate in a hackathon? Is that really for me, or it's mostly for the experience and the advanced folks? What's your thought? How do you want to kind of address that kind of notion that people have in their mind?
Well, for me, the how I look at this is a hackathon is a way for someone to get experience, work with people, learn from people, to collaborate in a way that is a fun ad hoc project, something that's not from your regular routine and your regular day of thinking, and puts you in the hot seat of being the one driving the initiative from start to finish. And I find that is extraordinarily important for all levels, from an internship onwards. If you don't give or put yourself in the situation where you are getting that experience, you're just never going to get it. And so a hackathon might be a way to do this if you're not getting it at work, or if you're not getting it in the environment that you're in, whatever it may be. And this should be fun.
Absolutely. I think that's a very valid point. Is like at our workplace, I think in many a times we will be restricted with what our job demands, and that is fine. Like it's a bread and butter. But we might have certain aspirations to do something, or maybe some kind of technology that you want to learn, you want to try out. As you said, like hackathon is really a place where we actually experiment those things out, right? Okay, that's great. The next thing that I want to know is like, if I am participating in a hackathon, um, what are the things that I should keep in mind? Is there any kind of best practices or any kind of standards that as a maker or as a builder, that is my mindset for hackathon that I should keep in mind?
So what I find most effective is really tone down what you're trying to do. If it's too big, are you going to be able? The first thing is, can you finish in time? Can you finish in time where you have the time to test and actually validate that your work is working? One. Number two, try to plan things out before starting. Don't just start going in and writing code. Think about the problem you're solving. What are the tools? What are the technologies you're going to use to integrate? Um, Test out little bits of things together first before building a whole big thing that you find out isn't working quite the way you would expect. So you have a quicker point to be more agile and think about the agility of what you're building, to have the time and the space to rethink and repurpose your idea. That's always how I feel it's important to do any project, especially one that's time based. Hackathons are great for this. You're going to be able to think about what you're trying to achieve, and it's going to sound amazing. But once you start putting into practice the technologies and other things, you may find that it doesn't quite work the way you feel. The UX might not feel right, something might not feel right. Give it a walkthrough in your head before you start everything.
Great, great. So, having that walkthrough on your head, you actually have a self realization like what you're going to do. And I guess what you also told is like, don't wait for that that big thing to happen. As and when like you build something, take it out. Things like things in stages, take things in stages and do it. Maybe the MVP is like something that we look at, like we let get thing out, let people try it, test it out, and we can always incrementally build on top of it. That's great. So I want folks to raise your hand, whoever in the audience, because it's your call, and you definitely have questions. I'm seeing them on Discord. I'm seeing them on various places, but now it's your chance to kind of ask to the mentor directly. So raise your hand, and I'm going to add you as speaker. Ask for it, and you can ask the question directly to Carlos. And in case you are not able to speak, please post your question in the comment so that I can read them out, or whoever can read that out, and we can ask to Carlos for giving the answer. Okay. So by that time we finish the next question, I want to see at least few speaking requests, for you to ask question directly. Okay. So the next thing that I want to know is like, of course, when you are participating in a hackathon, specifically in hackathon, which is like month long, and you also have other things to do, right? You might be a student or will be working somewhere. How do you really keep up the momentum for a month long hackathon? How do you make sure that you keep going on and trying to achieve things what you want to achieve as part of hackathon? Carlos, if you're on mute.
Sorry, I'm trying to, that's a big question, and I'm trying to put it in the best answer possible because there's many ways you can word this. Sorry. Um, the best thing is time management. You need to understand how much time you have, what you're actually capable of investing into the project, and your idea just needs to fit in that. It comes down to understanding the time, understanding your time, and owning your time so that you know exactly how much time you have and you can lay out the work, your tasks, or other things as you break them down to make sure that you're using your time effectively and just having a bit of a project runway installed. Go set up a free Jira or go find some other project management that you can write your tickets in, you can write what you're trying to achieve, and break it down into small steps that you can do every day in little small periods of time in a few hours, and that's really going to get you to where you want to go. If you're trying to just think of the big thing with everything else and not keeping track of what you're doing, what it's looking like, and documenting, you're going to keep coming back, losing track of where you are, and you're going to slow down quite a bit. So the best way to keep motivated is track your work, know exactly what you're doing, and keep going at it. Just know that eventually, as you do each small bit, it all adds up, and you get to the end.
Right, right. Yeah, definitely. So keep going is the self motivation, and keep going, the planning is definitely an essential part of it. Agree. Uh, Sammy has a question on chat. I'll just read it out. He's asking, I'm a newbie in tech. Is there opportunity for me to work in any group in hackathon? So the answer is yes, but Carlos, you want to kind of take that up?
I think that's really up to the group and the initiative. I'm not quite sure how things will be set up, but I'm sure if you can look for the different projects or different teams, there's definitely going to be something you can do, even if it's just interacting and working with them on some smaller bits or something that they need help that you have experience with that you are not aware of at this time because you're not sure what projects there are. Just keep an open mind and understand what you are capable of, not so much as the coding, but how much you could learn and how quickly, so you know what you're going to be able to give to the team in an agile manner.
Yeah. And just to add to that, for this hackathon, for Showcase Hackathon, yes, you can actually attend this hackathon as a team, but the team size is a maximum of 2 members in a team. So please, if you have not registered, Sammy, please go ahead and register, get started with it, and be on Discord, be on hackathon community on Showcase. I'm sure, like, if you're looking for a partner to join you, you will find one so that you can actually build together. Okay. Shashank, you asked to speak, so please go ahead with your question.
Hello Tapas, hello Carlos. My question is, for example, I have an idea to build something, to build an application. So the problem coming in my mind is that how to know that what are the technologies or what are the tech stacks I'm going to use on this project. For example, I'm building an app, but I don't know that how what are the technologies are going to make it flexible and make it more optimistic. So should I use those technology by taking the reference of the same kind of app on the which is already present in the industry, or uh, or please guide me that how to know the tech stack, that what are the tech stacks going to help me to build this project.
That one is based on your abilities, what your knowledge is, what you're capable of. It's also understanding the frameworks. So if you know Android and you want to make a mobile app on Android, go for it. You know what you're doing. But if you don't know Android and you don't know how to use the base frameworks from Android, you may want to use something like Flutter. Flutter is, or React Native or something along those lines. I personally have been using Flutter. It comes from Google. It's a little bit leaner than React Native, but it's not actually JavaScript. So even though it looks a little like JavaScript, you may run into things where it's just not going to behave like JavaScript the way React Native will do certain things. It's because of the React and JavaScript functionality in it. So it's about knowing the languages you're good with. What are the technologies you're good with? What is it you're trying to build? How much of it is using it? And how quickly can you learn? And that's always going to be different for everybody. It also is dependent on your experience. If you are someone who's highly seasoned, you're going to go from one technology to another with very little slowdown because you know what you're trying to build and have a good idea of what that is in your head, and you're going to know what to look for, the keywords that will give you the same code in a different language. Unfortunately, when you are more green, unfortunately, the part will be that you don't always know what you're looking for. And finding a mentor, finding someone to work with who has more experience could potentially guide you to those more effectively for you. But it always comes down to what you know. If you don't know something and you're in a time crunch, don't use it. Use what you know. That is always my best advice.
Thank you, Carlos. I think that was a very fine answer for me. One thing more I want to assure Tapas, can you please answer me? I'm just little in doubt that can I also build? It's not only about application. I can also build some extension or some websites. Exactly right.
Yes, yes, you can build anything. You can build a website. You can build a browser extension. You can build anything basically. That you want someone to use. Of course, there are few criteria, judging criteria that are kept in front of us. One of those things is like you got to use Showcase API. You use one of the APIs or use multiple APIs, doesn't matter. But you have to have some use cases which is around Showcase, and having that, you can actually build on any platform, build on with any technologies of your choice.
Okay, Tapas. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Carlos.
No worries, man. Thank you. Thanks, Shashank. Anybody else want to ask anything? Please raise your hand to speak, and we'll add you as a speaker because we want you to interact with Carlos. My questions is probably is going to kind of get over very soon. I want you guys to ask. I have not prepared too many questions from my side. That in that reason. Okay. Okay. So also favor. If you have anything to pitch in, please go ahead. Okay. Um, the next thing that that comes in my mind, like, see, I'm as a hackathon participant, I am actually building something, trying to build something, but maybe my idea is complex, or there could be some kind of time crunch, and I'm not able to kind of get to there, like where do you wanted to get to by the end of this hackathon timeline. So, what do you suggest, Carlos, to the individual? Because it might bring certain kind of disappointment, right? I have kind of spent 1 month, but I could not kind of reach to the point where I wanted to reach as part of this hackathon. So, what is the positive outlook from there for an individual who is participating in the hackathon?
First of all, I'm going to start by saying keep it small. Don't feel you need to do something massive to win. It's not always the massive endeavor that wins. It's sometimes the most creative, most useful. Um, if you're not going to finish, don't worry about it. Try to get a demo. Put something together that others can look and judge and see and validate with the idea. If you can finish it, that's great. Perfect. That's exactly what you want to be doing. But just because you can't finish in time doesn't mean you cannot demo or show something. It's always what can you do with the amount of time? How can you be agile, basically flexible with what you have to make it a success. The anybody who gets to success, it's not because they finish a perfect product. It's because they finish something someone can interact with that that person finds intriguing to them or valuable to them. And that is what your goal is to achieve in the hackathon. It is not about creating something that is absolutely amazing. It should be something that is useful to somebody.
Absolutely, yeah. That's a great point, and that's a great motivation to have throughout the hackathon. You spoke about you touched base about demo as well. I have a curious question about it, and you are also a judge for us this hackathon. So, how if say I'm done with my hackathon duration, I built something. How should I get prepared for the demo? What's the best practices for demo in front of a judge? I might merely have some 5 to 10 minutes. How what best I can do for the demo preparation?
From my experiences in hackathons, it's always best to know what your product is and why you're building it. The why is the really key part because that's what your demo is. Your demo is showing the why, not the what. If you go into all the features and all the things, people find it hard to connect. But when you go with the why, this is a really big one, and it's you're gonna want to go look on YouTube for Simon Sinek. Start with why, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. Starting with why is the emotional connection. When you want a product to connect with people and resonate with them, that means that they're going to enjoy it. They're going to find it easy. There's something that is emotionally going to connect with them. You start with the why. The why is the reason for everything that you're doing and what you're presenting. And the why doesn't need to be long. The why can be short. When you watch an Apple ad, they show you the emotion of what you're buying. And that is the why. And you don't need to worry about all the features and everything else. You can always do the research after, but that is the connection. You want to start with connecting with your audience, and then you start going into more details as they are enthused. But you don't need to go into so much detail that you run out of time. It is about keeping it light and keeping it moving.
Great answer. Yeah, completely agree with that. I hope that many of the folks who are actually preparing for this hackathon, they are also keeping the end goal in mind. They probably also envision like the end of the hackathon they're going to demonstrate their product to in front of you judges. I think these points are going to be very helpful for them. Samir asked a question on chat. I'll just read it out for you, Carlos. It's like he's saying that he is new to Showcase platform, and in his hackathon idea is about building a Discord bot integration for Showcase. He wants to build that. So he's asking like, do you have any kind of unique recommendation which he can add to Discord bot or make it useful for others?
Unfortunately, I don't have much experience with Discord bots myself. I mean, I was building IRC bots and doing bots for all sorts of things, just not with Discord. I would recommend just, when I build a Slack bot or something at work to as a tool, notification integration with something, I like to understand what it is that the users are trying to achieve with that and building it for the group that I am that are going to have that use. That's always again the why. Why am I building this? What is the point of this? And typically for a work situation, it is because, or for any situation, it's because somebody wants a bit of information. I unfortunately am still a bit new with Showcase. I've only been using it for a short period of time. And if I were doing something, it would be about what is important to me. And that may not be the same case for others, but if you know what's important to you, see if it resonates with others. Ask around, see if other people you know on Showcase use it, or see how others might find that valuable. And then that should help you decide if it is the idea you want or if you want to focus on a different perspective of the Discord bot.
Yeah, so I think that collaboration makes a lot of sense, and also is like you take your prototype to future users and validate like, is that something that you will be using? And maybe you will get more ideas from that. So for me, one of the things that I always feel like the job is one thing where Showcase is very much ahead in terms of telling you like what are the remote jobs available. So maybe one idea could be like the bot gives you a notification on a channel on Discord like whenever a new job get posted on Showcase, so that you don't have to really go to Showcase and try to find out like a new job has been posted or not, which might be matching certain skill, like you're a full stack or back end, front end, Python developer. So based on that skill, if a job is posted, somebody can subscribe to that bot, and that bot can actually push that to a particular channel, and they gets notified. I'm just talking about ideas. Carlos was telling based on what you want. I think for me, the job is something that I'm interested in. I would probably build something like that. But Showcase has other things also, like there are other features as well that you can explore, and feel free to connect offline.
Absolutely. I think it's always the best way to put it is, as engineers, we sometimes think if it's useful for me, everybody else is going to like it. And that's
Mm.
not necessarily true. What's useful for you is useful for you, but might be useful for very few others, or it could be useful for everyone. The only way to ever find out is to get the data. If you want a project to be successful, understand the data that you're looking for to validate your idea before investing heavily in it. If you want it to be a success, I'm not saying that's what you need to do for the hackathon, but this is typical for any product you're building. Understanding the customer by looking at the data is always key for success.
Great. Yeah. I hope, Samit, you found this answer, adequate. But if you have any further questions, please feel free to ask in the comment section, or come here. You can ask directly, to us. Okay. To moving ahead, is there any other questions that anybody wants to ask to Carlos, and we want to kind of take it up? I'm just checking. Okay, there is one question. Okay, it's probably for me. Is there a theme or topic for the hackathon? Yes, with the Mukta. So there is a topic. There is a theme for this hackathon. The theme is build on showcase. So it means that whatever you are building, keep showcase APIs as part of it. Now, whatever you build that may run, on showcase. It means that whenever somebody is coming to showcase, they might use your feature, or it can be very much outside showcase. It is running in your application, but you're still using showcase API. It can be in both ways, right? So if it's like within showcase, you might have to kind of get access to the code base and kind of build on top of that. But if it is something like outside of showcase, you just need the API access, which is much easier, I guess. API access, which you have already given, API keys you can actually get once after your registration. You make your registration complete, and you can start building it. So that's the only theme that we have. Other than that, you are free to use anything, free to do anything. I hope that answered the question. Okay, so let me see if there are any other hand raised for asking any questions or asking any doubts to Carlos or me or
Yeah,
Favor.
there's one question I have for Carlos,
Yeah, sure.
which I believe some people have, brought, some people are, wondering about, which is, um, so some people are worried, like when they are done with their project and they um, submit it for review to be judged. So, Carlos, as a mentor and also a judge, what do you think about how clean the person's code is? Do you think someone should focus more on functionality, make sure that the app is at least working, or should they focus on both functionality and writing, clean, scalable code?
That is a great question. And the answer is you should always worry about code quality. Not because of somebody reviewing you, but because if you don't have clean, scalable code, you're usually going to run into a lot of problems, especially if it works and you want it to take it, you want to take it to the next level. It doesn't mean your code needs to be perfect. I don't think there's ever a place where your code is ever perfect, and there's so many startups that get to a certain point and then start everything from scratch because they get to a point where they know their product just needs to evolve way past where the original code, which was a bit dirty, got them to. And that's okay to have a little bit of dirty. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is if you're not building scalable code in the manner of making sure your algorithms in there are at least decent, you will run into some issues that are unforeseen. That's just there's just no way around that. And if you have dirty code, debugging it, it's just going to add extra time for you. So having good, clean code is always going to make things a little bit faster, more effective for what you're trying to achieve. Beyond that, I don't know if we're judging on code quality, but if I were to be judging on anything work-wise or for everything else, code quality is always important for me. It doesn't matter how dirty something is. The quality of my code represents the quality of my work, because that is the work. Your code is the work, not just the UX side. If the UX is pretty and the code is just bad, you're going to run into problems no matter what you're in, and you're going to get into the tech debt issue. And then that tech debt is just going to be more than you can handle, and you just drown in it. So for me, tech debt is a big no-no. As little tech debt as I can add, the better it will be in the long term.
Okay, great, great. Thanks for answering the question, Carlos. So, do we have any other questions? Tapas, I think there's an extra
Yeah.
question, but for some reason I can't see it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go to that. Just a sec. I'm just reading through one, two, three, four, five. Okay, in chat I don't find anything, Favor. I think we are all good from the chat perspective. So I'm just looking for, like, if anyone got any question, don't be shy, just ask. But you can also ask on chat so that we can ask the question on behalf of you and make a good use of Carlos' time here. Um, I don't find anything, Favor, so far on the chat, and also I don't see like people have raised hand uh, over here. So just waiting for a few seconds if there is any hand raise before we say we end the call. Okay, I don't see any hand raise. So, Carlos, thank you very much for taking your time out and doing this session today. It actually was very enlightening, and we have learned a lot. Any kind of advice or any suggestions in general that you want to kind of leave out for the folks who are planning to participate in this hackathon? Yeah, please go ahead. Your last note for today's call. And by the way, we are going to have you again in this hackathon. Maybe next time we are going to do a LinkedIn live. We're going to try it out on LinkedIn, like how it works out. So let you know. Okay, over to you, Carlos.
Well, I'm the one thing I'm going to add is keep it fun. That's the one reality of things. If you don't keep it fun, you're not going to stay motivated. That's a big one. I think one of the best hackathon apps that I saw was at a company I worked at a while back, and I had a coworker who was extremely talented, extremely good at what he did, and he decided to do a bit of a funny app feature where the company I worked with was called Plated, and they were like a Blue Apron, a food service company for ordering meals, meal kits. And he decided, because he was vegan, he would do something that showed how much fiber you would have, and based on how much fiber you would have, it would give you some factor of how your bowels and other things will work, as a bit of a joke. And the way he presented it and everything made everybody laugh. And it was a very interesting feature to think about in the manner of a different perspective of looking at things, where you could look at nutrition and add how much nutrition something had. But it was the aspect that he didn't have enough time to really do anything. He had a lot going on. during that time period. So we wanted to do something fun that would keep everyone at beat, have a good moment, and just enjoy everything. And that sometimes that's just good enough for a hackathon because you don't have enough time, but you want to be involved and you want to be just get to know things or learn things or do things. And I think that's always priceless. Always look at what is going to make you happy.
Cool. That's fantastic. Thanks a lot for sharing, all the knowledge and wisdom today, Carlos, and thanks everyone for participating. So, if you have not registered for the hackathon, please go ahead and register for the hackathon. And if you need any help, reach out to us on the hackathon community on Showcase or on Discord. There is a hackathon channel. You can always come and ask us any kind of questions, anything that you need to get started. So we'll be back with another session soon, mostly this Saturday, coming Saturday, with another mentor who is going to chat with you, whom you can ask a lot of questions as well. Okay, so to end this, thanks a lot, Carlos. Thanks everyone. Thanks, Favor. So let's go back to our daily lives. Thank you. Bye bye.